mediocre team and Big D. That's what makes this funny. How about the Cowboys? How about the Cowboys?
They go with Cunningham.
Come on! You gotta be...
The 20.
Wow.
Touchdown,
Wow, okay.
Detroit.
That's crazy.
And he's
Come on, man. Show
Schreiber
niggas you
now
love
to kick it
to
off.
compete, but this shit whack as fuck sometimes, cuz.
Try the option of first and goal.
Easy work, Zeke! Perry been shooting.
You are watching a master at work.
Episode number 3, Headaches to 8 and 8 over the hump. We're back. You've seen the breakdown on episode number 2. You've seen the pilot intro on episode number 1. Now this is where we get talking about the bullshit. The shit that you don't see talked about on anything else. Like, we don't get down to the nitty gritty. You know Tim, we've talked to Tim, you've heard him talk about his game. You know he says he deals with the breaks. We're going to see. Then we're going to try to debunk a little bit. But this can be a shorter episode. I know the last one was like an hour 10. This one probably going to be around 20-25 minutes. We're going to get to it and get out of here because the next 2 episodes, I'm telling you, I'm so excited for the next 2 episodes. They're going to be jam-packed. You know, we're going to go break down the offense. We're going to break down the defense. We got a lot of stuff coming in the last 2 episodes, so enjoy this one. It's a cool one. It's a little light one, but the next 2 going to come back heavy. I promise. But before I send it over to Tim, don't forget, follow us on Twitter at MSR League or at MSR_the network. YouTube, search MSR Space Network. Same thing for Spotify. Go ahead and check out that NDP podcast. Just got another one drop. Episode number 40. They really doing some things up there on Spotify, so make sure you share that out. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe when you watch this video. But Tim, time to bring Tim on. Man, what's going on, bro? I know we broke down that TJ game last game. Now we got this episode. Man, what's been happening? You muted. See, look, you already. Look,
still fine tuning.
It ain't a Headaches to 8 and 8 without Tim being muted.
Still fine tuning. Still figuring some things out. It's good to be a little bit behind the curtain. You don't really get to do that outside of in a quick spell when you're trying to get ready for a game or just trying to catch up. Maybe do some highlights. You only see a little bit, but to really go through play by play and you know, you see how certain plays led to other plays not going well, and you know, so it's good to have that kind of stepping outside yourself for a moment and just looking and seeing actually how you performed and things you could have done better. Like they say, the eye in the sky never lies. So, you know, it was refreshing to kind of go through that. So yeah, I definitely appreciate it. I actually, you know, even more appreciate the response to it.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about, I think you kind of mentioned it on the first episode, speaking to like the bullshit that you go through. I know me and you had the conversations about it, but you know, the community haven't really heard you kind of just like just speak a little bit on just like what you go through game in, game out. I know how you feel, but I want everybody else to hear, like, really just go ahead and just be black and white about it.
Yeah. So for me, it's really about you know, we all know that when you play a video game in a game like Madden, where there's a lot of, you know, unknown occurrences and variables that can affect the game, you kind of accept it as, you know, it comes with the territory. You know, it's Madden, the game's going game from time to time. But man, and again, I don't want to make myself seem special because I'm not. but it's just certain situations. It just feels like it's extra stressful on this side. Like it doesn't have to be. Like even in the seasons where I've been successful, having playoff seasons and above 500 things of that sort, I would still have plays where even if it went for me in the positive, I'm like come on, like that doesn't need to happen. So, but of course, when it happens to you and it's against you, it's magnified, times 10, times 20, and like, we've had a few moments this cycle, this particular season, last couple of seasons, where it's just, where you're trying to get rid of, one particular play, I'm trying to get rid of the ball. Like, I'm making a good play. The play's kind of dead. I'm rolling out. I don't have anywhere to go. And I'm tapping the analog to throw the ball out of bounds. And I
Like
get
the right
hit.
stick. Like the right stick, right?
Get hit. The right stick. Get hit as I'm throwing the ball. Ball just curves right to the defender who was hanging along the sideline. And it's just one of those moments where it's just like, man, you just can't catch one. Like you actually make the right decision. Like, okay, play's over. I'm throwing it away. And the complete opposite happens. And but those type of occurrences, it's like, what do you do, man? You either complain about them or you try not to put yourself in a situation. So I'm interested in seeing, if those plays have happened, what maybe I did to even contribute that, coming to. So that's also a part of getting better. Like even in something that it seems out of your control, you may have had more control than you think.
Yeah, and you probably, I know I watch a lot of MSR games, probably more than I should. But I know you watch a lot too, whether it be like on the way home from work or you be so busy. I know you just be catching games like in and out. So, like,
Yeah.
do you think that you see it more in your games because it's your games and you care about it, or does it just not happen as often to other people throughout? I'm trying to think how to say it because it seems to happen to you in like a it doesn't just happen one play. It's like 5 or 6 plays, right? Right, like back to back to back. Like once it starts sliding, bro, it
It'll
just
feel that
slides,
way.
right? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it'll feel that way. Yeah, it'll feel that way sometimes. Like, you'll have a bad read, um, where you'll see someone else that make the same kind of pass with maybe a lesser quarterback. Like I'll have those moments where I'm like, all right, I've made that throw with a quarterback that has the abilities to make that throw, the attributes to make the throw, all that time, spacing, everything, and it'll be incomplete or to the defender, and yet normal quarterback on the rise. Boy, that ball to get in, and he'll have 3 people about to kill him, but that pass to get through in tight spaces for
one hand eye
big third
catch.
big third down conversion or something or for a touchdown. So you go through that, and it's just like, oh, like that is always gonna happen to me. Like if I say it on my streams all the time, like, boy, if it's gonna be me, it's gonna be stressful.
Hey,
Like it
you
was
don't.
gonna be,
I'm telling you, you just don't have no
so.
like. You don't just see like Tim blowing somebody out. Like it just don't
Oh
happen,
man, I
bro.
miss those moments. It's like I'm not capable. I know I'm capable,
Definitely capable.
and not to say anybody is, I'm better than anybody, 2, 3 touchdowns, like, but I know what I can do when I'm when game to game, what my abilities are. So it bothers me even when I have, when I do win. Sometimes it's just too close for comfort. It's just like, damn, like it's cool to have fun and close games, but like, man, like, damn, I need a couple takeaways, or I need this and that, so we can start get that separation going. But you get to the last few minutes and it's still a tight game, and you can't just get that extra separation that you want against your opponent. It also leads to some of those moments. I think that's a part of it too. When the game is tight, when the moments are tight, you those high leverage moments. Um, it's good to have some distance between you and your opponent, because one play can switch the momentum in the whole aspect of the game like that.
Talk
And
about that. Mm.
one thing about Madden, man, when it gets going against you, sometimes it feels like it's an avalanche when it's not a couple plays. But if the moment is gone and you now feel like you're fighting uphill against the energy of the game and yourself and your mind and the opponent and all that, man, it's like the game within the game. And I think that sometimes can be won and lost up here. You know, you gotta have that game within the game. We talk all the time. People say it in the
100%.
chats of games, poise. Gotta be. Think when you're poised, you know how to. Those moments come and go, and I'm saying this to myself too. Those moments come and go. Um, but it's gotta have that short memory. Gotta be able to, like, like, okay, but you still on the sticks. You still got a chance to win, whether you realize it or not. So just kind of shake it off as best you can.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had my games where I felt like I was playing the opponent and playing Madden at the same time. I mean, if you ask my opponents, I probably never lost. But that's at least how I tell them. Like, if I lost,
Right.
probably some bullshit happened. That's
Right.
at least that's my mindset.
Right.
I say you could probably you could be better than me. You can kind of just either you own it, you could figure out how to prevent it, or you just be like me and just nah, fuck it, I ain't
Talk
losing that
about
game.
it. Talk
I
about
mean,
it.
that's just how I am though. That comes from like the competitiveness though.
Yeah, that
Um,
extra little bit of driving beam.
I'll come back 30 minutes later like nah, GG bro. Like, but the first 10 minutes, nah,
Don't leave me
nah.
alone. Don't talk to me.
But no, let's get into it a little bit. So we're gonna do this
Yeah.
a little different. Kind of got three plays here that you had clipped that you thought were bullshit, and then so I'm gonna let you go through them. You can see them, right?
Mhm.
So I'm gonna let you go through them, and then we're gonna kind of debunk it. So first one right here, 3rd and goal, down 14-0 to the Lions. Minute 35 to go in the first. Come out in a kind of a 2 or 3 receiver set. You got big man Ellington on the left, Carruthers in the slot, and the rookie on the right. So talk to me pre-play. Like, what do you see here out of the defense?
So pre-play, I get either this is a funny looking man setup, or this is more likely a cover 6, something like that, because of the far corner on the left side. I'm reading him. Yeah, he may be pressing up, but that's probably a flat. He'll probably ride me into the inside and see if that, ride me right to the linebacker to safety help, who's probably playing the flat or that other hook zone right there. Um, so that was my first read. I'm just looking to see if Ellington if I can get that cubby hole, low pass, something quick where he can fall into the end zone, or I'm also looking at for Wit, for Win, my tight end. I always read that that linebacker right there to see how they're playing it. If it's being usered, most likely looking away from it. But if it's not, you may be able to get a quick dart right before they get to the back of the end zone. So just kind of taking that. Of course, I got to check down with Zeke on the left side if I have to, or I just throw it away and save face on the drive.
Yeah, I think you went through the 3 reads. I think it's slant, option, Zeke, or just tuck it and run. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it. We'll see. Maybe. There we go. Go ahead and play it. See what happens. So as you
I needed this too. I needed this bad, and
Mm,
so yeah. So this is so if you could just what kills me on this play is that I have a 6'5" receiver. I throw the ball where he is literally boxed in between 3 people. The only person that should be able to put their hands up is him. I throw it. He doesn't react to the ball. It goes to the safety who was clearly behind the guy. I mean, just right there. He's gonna put his hand up. He's gonna fall. Like, I've seen it too many times. If anything, it's incomplete. But that ball's not gonna pop up. He's gonna fall with the ball into the end zone. But he doesn't react to the ball. He goes and actually immediately blocks because there's an interception that happens. So it's just, or he goes and tries to make a tackle. So it's just, yeah, it's tough. That was a tough one.
It's definitely the read. I want to see if Win is open here. Because I know Red's user is right there beside it too. But, nah, so he was never open because instead of running an option route, he decided to run to the back of the end zone. I don't
Yeah,
know what that
he chose to run straight up. Yep.
So I think you made the right read. I think so we talk about a little bit about these high passes and Wentz, and a lot of turnovers come off that.
Mhm.
And when you highball this, what's the reasoning behind the highball right here? Looking at this pocket,
Just to get to
Because he's
his
6'5"?
hands, just because he's 6'5". It's become probably a habit, really. So yeah.
because like right here, like okay, so when I think highball, I think one-on-one back end zone. I think like deep dig in the back of the end zone, trying to get over that linebacker, something like to that effect. But like right here, he's not gonna get this ball. He's got a chance if you lead it right. he's got a chance if you overthrow it. So if I'm throwing this, I'm probably positioning down, and I'm lowballing this right here, a little TJ dot, right here in this pocket by this L, because by you highballing it, it allows for that. It's just an inaccurate throw. It's not you. Like, that's the right throw. It's just the high ball. He got a high ball inaccurate. It just caused him to throw towards the back of the end zone
It
instead of the
allowed it
front.
to happen.
Yeah, instead of the front. So I just think you lowball that right there. And moving forward, the high balls are just, you gotta pick and choose. And the slants are never a high ball type of. Because I mean, at worst, like, I don't know. I don't see it on a slant.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's get this one out of the way. Had to change up the format a little bit. So here we go. Rhino and you. 7-7. 30 seconds to go in the first. You on third down. Same thing before. Go ahead and walk me through it.
So on this one, I hadn't called this play all game. It's probably one of my least called plays in my playbook. I like to only call it against certain sets, certain looks. And this is a look that I thought would be perfect because it's literally one-on-ones on the far side where the play is going. I don't like to call it to the short side of the field because of the compressed blocking on that side. If I got two receivers and a tight end there, I mean, it just doesn't. It's not that much space. So you run it with at least you're running back to cross on one hash mark. So I was able to have them go on that side, and then by the time I'm thinking he runs from right to left, catches the ball. You know, he's got a receiver right there. He's got a receiver on the outside. All he has to do is beat the safety, or maybe this hawking linebacker in the middle of the field if he's reading it right. So I really like my chances looking at this pre-play.
So this is a swing pass, right?
Yes.
So the two things that two big. I don't run this as. I very, very rarely run this. Like, it might just happen to come across one in every 5 games, 6 games. But when I do, the two things I look for first is, have I seen his user? Because if they move somebody, then you know where their user is, right?
Respect.
I look for their user pre-play. If I don't know it, then it's like, okay. And then I look at the slot. Because I don't want to throw this. I don't want the slot line, like, I don't want him press. Like, see how he's pressing, everyone else is backed off? That's odd to me. The way that it's set up like that. So, like, that indicates his user's there. I'll let it play through, though. So it's swing pass here. Boom. 1-step drop back, throw. And it's just pick. But he didn't pick six it, right? No, he did pick six it.
I believe he did. Yeah, he goes all the way.
He did. So,
Yeah, I drove all the way down the field after he scored. So, yeah, I remember that.
Now let's stop it. No, let's go back just a little bit more. All right, pre-play. There we go. All right, so you take your 1-step drop. You're already throwing here, right? But you know his user is there. And it's 3rd and 4.
Right.
You're on the 17. So I know you talked about, you were expecting Caruthers to pick up a block, right?
Now look, I didn't realize that was Caruthers there. So that's just an error on me because Caruthers is a small receiver. If I have Ellens in there, that's probably blocked.
100%. I think so.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, so this is one of those unique plays that it's a one read play. There's no other options, right? So, like,
right.
As soon as you see his user there, I don't care. Like, maybe he gets picked up, maybe he doesn't. I'm just taking the intentional ground and kicking a field goal. It's just not worth, because you're on the 17, so, like, what, 10 yards, 15 yards? Like, it doesn't matter. It's still a field goal. That right there, just a little pre-snap icon of him being there is enough for me to respect it. Now, some users, I'm like, oh, he's not going to make that play. Like, but he happened to make the play. But you were already throwing by the time. Like, look, now you're already
in motion. I gave too much respect to the block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. You had to make that decision here. Oh, wait, no. You had to make that decision right here. But you had already made it to throw, so then it just, So, I mean, I won't say that one was bullshit. That was more of not a bad read.
It wasn't now looking at it. Yeah. I mean, even if, like you said, like, the pre-snap, like, so that's one thing about calling those plays, which is why I've kind of pushed it back in my playbook, is because, like, there's certain formations that are tails. So you could kind of see, where someone's playing it. And if a linebacker's playing that side, they have a very good angle to jump the pass in a passing lane. So that's easy pick 6. That one, again, I just gave my receiver a little too much respect, thinking he would make that block. And then all he had to do was literally just one little sharp move off the line. He weaved it, and he was in the passing lane to make that play. So it was a great defensive play by him. I just really thought I was gonna get a better block, but again, that's a 5'8" receiver right there.
Yeah, just a little guy. So moving on to the last one. Same game. I think same game, right? Just later on.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
1916. So you're you're almost in the fourth, and your defense gave up 9 points. So you're actually playing pretty well.
Right.
You got a tight formation here. Zeke in the backfield. He's got 5 guys lined up. This guy looks like he's moving over. But he's got 1 linebacker. So what are you seeing here? I haven't actually seen this play, so it's gonna be freestyle.
Yeah. So 3rd and 9. I could just be honest with you. As soon as I see, because pre-snaps is everything for me. As soon as I see the setup, I know I have my read. I know where I'm going with the ball. In the back of my mind, I'm only not throwing it as if he's using somewhere. If he's using the strong safety, or he's using that linebacker right to the left of my tight end on the right side. So where the mic is, yeah. So that's the only guy I'm worried about is the mic. If he's using that guy, or if he's using the strong safety, I'm not throwing my read because my read is there. I can see it pre-play. Now what I'll do is I probably gave him a fake tail, like I probably maybe moved something or pointed at another receiver that I wasn't throwing the ball to, just to kind of maybe move his user around or switch. Maybe he was where he was going to guard after the play starts. But I see just, okay, this is probably some sort of hook zone with the linebackers. I probably have the sticks at the very minimum. So it was a two read route for me because I knew I needed to get across the sticks, and I knew I probably had my first read. The corner was a late read backside, but I wasn't even looking there because I just knew I had what I needed.
Let's play it through. Got the drag.
And one thing about Rondo, he'll give it to you. He won't overplay things. Like he'll play the flats hard before he like plays super far back.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I have enough of underneath tendencies in the game where he had to respect that drag. He had to respect Zeke coming out the backfield enough to let Wynn get behind him. Mm-hmm. And I thought I had the read. So
looking here, you're going to have the corner route. I think, speaking of this, before I forget, looking at this pre-play, with all the motion that you do, right? Mm-hmm. This is a perfect time for you to motion out and bring this cornerback wider, so this corner is going to be so wide open. Because he's open this play. But if you bring him out and he's on a hitch, so he's going to stay down, he's probably cribbing this. So let's go ahead and play it. So he moves this corner out. Now look, there's your read. So he stayed down for the drag. You also had the drag if you really
wanted to lead him a little bit. Yeah.
I like this pass though. So you try to fit it into a pocket, and you highball again, and you're at what, the 34 to the 40. That's a good 25, 27 yard highball, and it just goes behind you with no animation. If you don't highball that, it 100% is a completion, no problem, because he never gets that. I mean, he just sells it. And I think it just comes down. Look at that right there. I mean, it's like the right read. He's not going to pick that. Like, he reaches for it, but he's never going to pick that. Not being that far deep. And he just sailed it. I don't know if you could click on and try to go near that, but most of the time when you get that kind of bullshit right there, that it just gives you no animation regardless. So I mean, it's bullshit to an extent, but I think you highball. I think without the highball, it's a good read and pass. Like that's the pre-snap read was pretty perfect for what you wanted. I just think that the highball really, it's just, hey, some quarterbacks can't highball, and I just think Carson's one of them. I don't know what is, I can't give you like anything from Madden or EA, but it just shows in your games that he can't highball, and that like it
works sparingly too. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, like I've gotten away with it, in plenty of situations, like just throw it. I've thrown in dig routes or not necessarily post routes, but like maybe something where it's kind of sort of in the middle of the field, but it's like kind of in the pocket of his own. I've thrown that and been able to get guys to catch it, possess and catch, get it, and go down. But again, I think what I'm also seeing too is the times when you don't step up. When you take the 2-3 steps back and you kind of stand there and then you try to hardball the pass. It's not as fluid as if you go back into that last step of your drop and then you step up and then you climb up and then you throw. I think I'm not saying that changes what you're saying, because I really do think that's something that could be minimized. But I'm wondering if on those plays, if maybe there was some stepping up, if the throw has a little more accuracy than if it's 1, 2, 3, you're standing there, okay, he's open, let me just, and then that's where it tends to flutter, because there's kind of at that point the momentum has stopped. That's where he just kind of thrown. It's not really stepping up with the momentum to kind of get it there with the torque, and I don't know, that's kind of the extra level of thinking.
I mean, you heard me talk about it before on 8 and 8. Passing, to be a successful passer, it's all about angles, right? Like the movement in the pocket is not necessarily to always evade pass rush, which it does. That is the reason, but it's really to create the angles that you want to get the quickest, the most efficient way from A to B. So like the more you drop back, the deeper that angle is, and the more it allows for defenders to get there, whatever. So if you step up and step to the right, it's got a completely different angle. Whereas you step back 3 steps, you're having to pass it over top the linebacker's head instead of up and to the right, and it's just boom, it's right there to him on a straight line, and it's just less chance of bullshit to happen. So I mean, I think you're right. I don't know if it has anything to do necessarily with high balls. It could not.
That was a good point.
I really don't know, but it definitely
just something to think about.
Yeah, it definitely has angles. So I want to get into a little bit, like I talk about controlling what you can control. There's a lot of people in the league. I'm not gonna mention like certain people, but that if you get 1 or 2 bullshit plays on them, you win. It don't matter how bad you're playing. Like they just crush mentally. And I'm not saying that you crush, because you're definitely not as bad as others, but you can definitely you're an energy guy, right? Everything you do, it don't matter, Madden, whatever. Like you gotta have energy to like be you. And so when that energy and that mentality gets thrown off, then you can definitely see like your gameplay changes, like your attitude changes, and then the game just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to talk about a little, just like I said, controlling what you can control. So if I go down, let's say first play or first drive, I throw a pick. I'm like, all right. Second drive, I come back out, wide open read. He just airmails it for a pick. So at that point, you're down 7, you're down 3, whatever the score is. You've already thrown 2 picks. It's the first quarter. At that point, a lot of people start to tilt. That's where the tilt starts. And I think it really separates, like, it separates the levels in the league, is if you can just say, okay, let me reset. I need a reset. And you come back out that third drive, and it's boom, inside zone, boom, handoff. Let me get to my running back. Let me get Cam going a little bit. Then I'm going to warm Tyree's arm back up. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get the juices flowing. I'm going to get a little rhythm. Then I'm going to hit him for a quick drag. I'm going to hit him for a corner route against man. Something just easy, no chance type of throw. And then we can start going back into our bag a little bit slowly, surely. But with these QBs, the way this year, it hasn't really, I don't know that it's really been like that in previous Maddens. But this year, maybe last year, but this year especially, you really, if you start off bad and you don't reset, they really start to snowball. Like, I've seen it with so many QBs, especially lower rated ones. Like, you have a pretty high rated QB, but I've seen so many people that just, they throw 1 or 2 picks, they throw some bad passes, and then they don't reset, and then they bitch the rest of the game because they're not making no passes, they're high mailing interceptions, but it's because they never reset. Like, that's what it is, and they don't want to hear it, but that's really what it is.
You have to have that foresight to know, like, okay, like it kind of. I don't want to steal what you said, but it's like literally, it's a carbon copy of that. Like, you have to have the know it all to be like, okay, I may want to air it out this game, or I may want to go blow for blow right now, but I can't. Maybe we'll do that later in the game. So Let's just say at that point it's 14-0, 10-0, and it's 4 or 5 minutes gone in the first quarter. Scratch the first quarter, bro. Like, you're not going to win the game in the first quarter. Like, let's just slow that down. Let's try to win the rest of the game. Because at the end of the day, you want to have more points than the opponent. So let's try to win the rest of the game. Focus on, okay, what can I do now? I have the ball, third drive. What can I do now? Yes, 7 would be good, but maybe 3 may be good for just us getting forward. And then maybe we get a stop on defense, and then we have a chance to get 7 in, and then the game's different. So you have to kind of just control the possibilities. People want to immediately get that 7 back, immediately get that 14 back, and some people have the talent and able to get it. They can be aggressive enough to where they can kind of get themselves going. But others, you have to maybe walk before you can crawl. Or, crawl before you can walk. Excuse me, a little bit. Try to take it in a sense where, okay, he's kind of reading me right now. Like he's jumping my routes. He's gotten some pressure. Let's slow that pressure down. One way to slow down some pressure is a run game. Get a couple first downs on a run. Those DNs can't come off as fast. They're not pass rushing as much. Maybe now you get that linebacker that's been using the guy that he's been using. Maybe he starts playing maybe he starts shooting the gap, boom, play action pass. Now, you got something intermediate over top of his head. That's it. It's literally that's how it works in real life. But it's simple. It's simple concepts still work, and if you're able to get just the bare minimum done, then the rest of the game opens up to you, and then you remember that first quarter you were down 14-0, and then now it's halftime, it's 17-17. It's a completely different game. Yeah, it's 17-17, but now you have the momentum because you flipped it back from when you were down 14-0. Like, you got to find those little nuggets and those little, it's like I said earlier, it's like those games within the game. I think that's really
it is, bro. It's a game.
That's what I live to play for, bro. Like I don't know if I've ever really said it that way, but maybe that might be how I would explain it. I really enjoy having the games within the game. Like I say, when I play college, I feel like it's a chess match. Or when you and I go at, we've had those games. Like, I remember that first game of the cycle this season. Yeah, it was just the first game, but I wanted to win that game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really wanted to set that, kind of set that tone for my cycle. Like, all right, I got my boy. I know he gonna be there in the NFC year in and year out. I gotta show, like, cool, if this game needs to matter late in the season, I got this dub over him. So, like, I'm that type of person. Like, I want those third, fourth quarters, like, you've been kind of been blitzing, or you've been sitting underneath my deep passes. Okay, let me try to catch you a different way. Make you, okay, you using over there. Like, I'm gonna see if you're really using over there. Like, okay, it looks like you think it's an out route, it's actually a stop route. Like, cool, now, okay, let me see what you're doing. Like, I like having those chess match, those little wars within the war, because when you win those, then it sets you up for greater opportunities later in the game. And I think people that maybe don't think that way don't see it, but there's a lot of value in that. If you just see how you can get your opponent to certain situations, and then it's literally like you're putting the game in their hands. Like, okay, cool. I may have been down 17 points when the third quarter started, but now I'm down 3, and it's 5 minutes left, and now you got the ball. And you've been struggling on the second half. What you gonna do with it? Okay, if you score, you got the game.
Now you sound like me.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you up, okay, if you end up taking that drive and you get a guap drive and you go down the field and you score with like two minutes left or less than 2 minutes left, and I'm down 10, that's game. Hey, you boned up on one big drive and you slowed the game down. You got that W. I can't do nothing but give you a GG off of that, because I made my run, but you closed me out. But I also want to see if you can actually close me out. If you can't close me out, cool. Now my window's open for me to take the game from you. I love that. I love having those windows, man. I love getting into those situations, man. And I think that's another part of why it bothers me that when I have these seasons where I haven't been. Look, this is my third season that I haven't been in the playoffs, but I've had 3 seasons where I've been in the playoffs. But I honestly don't really remember the seasons that I've competed in the playoffs as much as I remember the seasons I haven't. Those are the ones that stick with me, because I'm telling you right now, I told you before the show, I'm watching these playoff games, man, and I want to be in the moment. I'm tight. Like, I'm like, what? Like, I'm watching Samoan and King. Like, that feeling's different, man. You want to be one of those ones that at the end of the year, they got to come watch you play. Like your season may be over, but you got to still watch me play. Like I want to be one of those guys. Like I just shoot for that every season. I shoot for the moon every season. Whether I get there or not, it's a different story. But I'm shooting for the moon every season. You know the conversations we have. So,
Yeah.
it's
I was
man,
at-
it's cool. It's
I was
really cool to have
actually
that.
just having that kind of a similar convo with Taco. It's been a few weeks, but he was alluding to the fact like okay, like he said he's realistic when it comes to because they always do playoff predictions before every playoffs, and he's like I don't ever say I'm not gonna say I'm gonna win it because I'm not gonna win this year, and I'm realistic, but I know he said he knows that I'm gonna say I'm gonna win every single year.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
'cause that's my mentality, right? I'm not
Right,
going in any
right.
game thinking I'm about
Thinking
to
I'm gonna
lose.
lose.
I'm
No,
thinking I'm
sir.
winning the Super Bowl every single season. Is it gonna
Yes,
happen?
sir.
Fuck no.
Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying? But I'm definitely going into every game thinking I'm about to win.
That's the bar. That's the bar.
Right. But I think what people, my pops used to say that basketball was a game of runs. That's kind of how football is too. If you think about it. I think people go into games expecting to be perfect. They're expecting to win 40-0, whatever it may be. But you got to go into games expecting that run to happen from the other side. And when it does, you got to weather it. And if you can't weather it,
Respond.
that's when the trouble happens because a lot of these people there's certain people in this league that I know are not going to win a championship. Not anytime soon. And it's not because the skill level not there. There's people that, outskill me that are up there with the top people, but they got no chance of winning because they can't to win a Super Bowl, you got to do 3 or 4 games in a row and you got to hold your mental to all those games, and it's never always going to go right. They're always going to have those bullshit moments, and if you can't hold it together and can't pull yourself back through those tight windows, then you don't have a real shot at winning it. And there's just certain people in the league that they don't have a shot yet. They'll get it later on, a little more experience, a little more stuff like that. But when you haven't seen you've been deep in the playoffs before, but let's take Rhino this year. Rhino ain't seen the playoffs in 2 cycles. Now he fighting in the divisional round. Let's say he beats them. Now he fighting in the conference championship or the Super Bowl. When you seen him, he was up like 28 in the wild card round. Started getting shaky. Started getting palms started sweating. Next thing you know, Kylo coming back with a vengeance. He
don't quit.
He was right there. He ended up not being able to complete it. Rhino still won, but let's say that game is a 10-point game, and you start shaking like that. You know what I'm saying? The clock management, the mentality comes into all of it when you get late on in these playoffs because clock management probably one of the biggest ways to choke games. I watched Rhino take 2 possessions and not take a complete minute off the clock. 2 possessions. That's 6 plays. Didn't take a complete minute off the clock because he's up 28, chilling, passing, trying to force more, and those incompletions, those run out of bounds, stuff like that. Next thing you know, that's 7 points the other way. Kylo gets the ball back. He gets a 1-play touchdown. Gets the ball back. Gets a 2-play touchdown. Now he's right back in the game, and you're like, damn, I should have just ran. That's why when I played TJ, you can hear me on the stream with 7 minutes to go in the game. I'm up like 21. I said, oh, we're done passing. If he beats me with his offense, cool. But I'm gonna keep this clock rolling as long as I got this ball for the rest of this game. Ain't no more passes, and I didn't.
Increase your probability.
Exactly.
Increase your
right?
probability. Yeah.
If I'm up 3 scores, if he goes and gets 3 touchdowns, stops me 3 times, gets 3 touchdowns, then he earned that shit. You know what I'm
He
saying?
had to have gotten there. Yeah.
But he got to
He's
play
about to get it.
perfect, and he got to get stops too. And I just don't. The probability is so low. I just don't see it.
Right.
But the last thing I got for you is I think we kind of hit on it already. I was gonna speak to the fact that that's what separates the good users from the elite top is the mentality and clock management, everything that goes into your mental. That really separates the top. And I wanted to ask you as a closing statement. We'll go ahead and throw this to the outro, but speak to me on moving forward what you can work on mentally to. Because you're in that, I would say you're in that good category. You never got over the hump, right? So speak to me a little bit on what you can work on moving forward that can help you at least start the movement over the hump. Nothing happens overnight, right? But how can you get to that spot?
So aspect, it's creating those good habits, right? So, being able to having those just repetitive, being able to put a gameplay down, and as I've said before, I've let the moment sometimes dictate, kind of take me off. But no, like run the ball. Like if you want to run the ball and be a 25 to 30 carry guy, be that. If the game dictates that you need to pass a little bit more, do that. But don't veer off from who you are as a team or how you want to be because of a couple bad plays, or because usually when you start to try to do other things, you're not comfortable. When you're not as comfortable in the game, then that's when everything can just avalanche and go down the opposite way. So I think that's a key piece. I think that the habits part, because that's whether it be on and off the sticks, that's kind of been my bread and butter. When you have good habits, I have, if I'm able to get that rest, if I'm able to get some time to practice before the game, and being more clued in. I I don't say this with any like kind of like braggadocious or anything, but like I pretty much feel like I have something on everyone in the league for the most part, except for the new guys. But like in terms of like gameplay wise, like I kind of know what to expect from most folks when I play them. Um, so usually it's about, can I execute to my best ability? I feel like if I can execute fine, most things take care of themselves. If I'm turning the ball over, I'm using things can usually be close to a little choppy. But when I don't turn the ball over, games are usually more than likely than not in my favor. So I focus on that. So that'll be another thing. Focus on the mental part, and I think that hampers me at times. It does when you're creating, you're giving teams other opportunities to score against you. You're giving them the ball. That leads to frustration because, of course, it's an interception, or of course, it. You maybe shouldn't have called. You probably shouldn't have been in that formation in the first place. Like, that wasn't the call. Like, it probably wasn't the call on after you just had 3 straight good run plays. Why are you now going out and 5 wide for what? He's playing. He's probably looking to see what you're gonna do. You may be able to catch him with play action, but you come out 5 wide. Now he could probably zone you up and maybe catch you looking at something that you don't, that you probably weren't expecting. So, it's those things. Getting back to kind of the juices and berries of things, and really being very rooted in that. I think I've played into the aspect of having to mix things up, trying to do things different and this and that. Well, I don't really have to. I just been trying to find different ways to enjoy the game. I think that's another part too. Because I think running can be boring. Like I think that's been a knock on running games. A lot of people have always said that running's boring, and I was not one of those people. But then running can be boring. So like me, I try for
Yeah,
everything
right.
going on in my life, I try to find some things to go on and do it a little bit differently. So okay, I got Zeke. He's a great receiver. I've gotten a lot more out of him as a receiver the last couple of years than I have as a runner. But when he's running, his X factor's lit up. When his X factor's lit up, it's Zeke. So still need to feed the guy, and everything else usually flows around it. Like I'll have games where I'm on the call and I'm saying it's a Zeke half. I feel like this is a Zeke half, and then it'll be a Zeke half. He's got 10, 12 carries in the half. He's flowing, couple touchdowns. A whole team offense feels completely different. So I think when you stick to who you are, you stick to what works, you stick to just your guns, and you'll have your moments again where the game is going to be within the game. You gotta maybe pass a little bit more on this particular drive to show that you got it in you, but also checks and balances. Still incorporating what's your strength, which is the run game, play action passing, quick passing, but then knowing when to selectively set up and take your shots. And that's when I'm at my best success. That's when most people are at their success, when they just control and stay within their strengths, and good things usually happen.
And that's gonna do it for us. Episode 3 is in the books. Talked a lot of just talk, man. Talked about the mental. We talked about separating yourself from the pack a little bit. You've seen some of the plays. That's gonna do it for us. Like I said, next episode 4. That's my favorite episode. Everybody that knows me knows I love offense. I love passing. So that's what we're really gonna break down. We're gonna get deep into his passing attack, into his run scheme, a little bit of the game planning and stuff like that. So look out for that next episode. That'll probably come out. This one's gonna come out probably, I would say, the 19th on a Wednesday. That one, the episode 4 will come out on Friday and the episode 5 on Sunday. So we'll get to you all this week now that the season's over. But just be on the lookout for that. We appreciate everybody coming out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Go follow us on Twitter. Y'all know the links. I don't have to keep repeating it, but we're out.